Hey, let's talk about rocks today. So, as a rock climber, I love rocks. I like to climb rocks. Rocks very interesting. You can injure somebody with a rock. You can build with a rock. You can climb rocks, which is what I like to do. But for what I want to talk about today, is kind of looking as rocks as a place to hide and rocks as a foundation. Today we're looking at Psalm 18, 1 and 2, and then also over here in Matthew 7, 24 through 27. So let's look at Psalm 18, 1 and 2 first. It says, I love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. And so as I look at this verse, when it says God is my rock in whom I take refuge, I kind of think of like a cave. I think it was a David. He kind of ran all over the place. He had to hide from people who were after him, and he went in these caves and he would hide in caves because a cave is a pre-existing structure that you can enter into for safety. And I kind of tie that in like to the Lord. The Lord is my rock. He's almost like a cave. He's something that's pre-existing that I can enter into and have shelter and safety in times of trouble. So that's kind of what I look at there for the rock for Psalm 18, 1 and 2. But let's flip over to Matthew 7, 24 through 27. So these videos kind of started because my dad had an accident and is still currently in a coma. And it's been, let's see, almost 2.5, maybe going on towards 3 weeks now. And this first initial week and a half or so, it was just like chaos. It was all over the place, and it seemed like our decisions were changing almost hourly. Our plans constantly were changing. We were doing this. Oh no, now we're not doing that anymore. Okay, we're going to do this instead. No, 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 we're doing this over here. And it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, we're going to move over here and sell this. So no, we're not going to move over here and sell this. So we're going to go over here and do this. Chaos. Um, During that time, one thing that was very consistent for me was being able to be in the Word and prayer. And there was like a rock. It was something that was consistent. Let's look at Matthew 7:24 through 27. It says, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who builds his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. When I first heard the news that my father was in an accident, it really kind of rocked my world, completely uprooted it. I left my home down south and flew up north. That same day, I packed a suitcase, left behind my pet, my family, or my friends, my support systems, my schooling, everything like that. Been living out of a suitcase down here in my parents' basement, helping them doing some things. But I equate that to the rains coming down, streams rising, and winds blowing and beating against me. But because I have Christ in my life, I consider him to be my foundation. On the rock, the house doesn't fall. I'm not completely obliterated because I have that strong foundation. And so my encouragement, my challenge for you today is to consider your foundation. Do you have a solid foundation, or do you have your house built on sands? When the rains came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew against it, that house fell with a great crash. So today, consider your foundation, and I hope that it's built on Christ. For me, that was the only thing that was consistent, and will continue to be consistent. So that's kind of my thoughts today as I read through Psalms and tried to link it with something over here in Matthew. That's all I got for you. And keep it easy. Consider your foundation as you move forward. Hopefully, it's built on the rock of Christ.